This is about setting the record straight and addressing potentially damaging perceptions. This is about Marland Yarde conceding that he has made mistakes, but also apologized, learned lessons and moved on. This is about understanding the circumstances surrounding his abrupt and acrimonious transfer from Harlequins to Sale last November, a move north that took place under a dark cloud. This is about presenting his side of a divisive story. 9 months ago, the winger was starting tests for England, in Argentina. 4 months later he was released by Quins, with a good riddance send-off from men he had played alongside for club and country. Chris Robshaw, a staunch diplomat, said, "I'm disappointed in him. Marland has run out of lives and as a club we are going to be in a better place now." Joe Marler added, "I'd lost the plot with him a good while ago. Me and him just don't get on." His former club collectively lost patience after Yarde missed 3 training sessions. Having hurriedly relocated to Manchester, he offered a cagey response to the accusations against him. Now that the dust has settled and he is too, the St. Lucia-born player is more candid when asked to reflect on the episode that drew so much unwelcome attention. "I'm not going to sit here and I say I was Jesus Christ," said Yarde. "I made errors. I was late for training a few times, more in the early part of my career at Harlequins, rather than the latter part. That just meant that when anything happened in the last 6 months, it went from a molehill to a mountain pretty quickly." It should be emphasized that Yarde is not dwelling on what happened, full of regret, but pressed on how it created certain perceptions about him. He added, "I wouldn't have played consistently in so many games for Harlequins if I was someone who doesn't care or doesn't work hard. I've made a few off-the-field errors, which I'm sure most people in most day-to-day jobs would do, but that's not me just making excuses and saying it's all right. There's stuff that people don't know about, but I don't necessarily think I need to talk about my entire life to everyone. In previous times, I've struggled with a few things off the field. I'd prefer not to say what those things have been. I've learned from mistakes, but at the same time I'm a human being and I will make mistakes. But I won't intentionally make mistakes because I don't care." The one thing that really upset me about that period was people thinking I didn't care, or that I was too big for my boots. I care about working hard, I care about being part of a team and I care about playing well for a team. When Yarde headed to Sale, the impression was that he was leaving burned bridges behind him. The reaction of Robshaw and Marler appeared to reinforce that view, but he insists that many bridges remain intact, even the one between himself and the director of rugby who told him to leave. Quins. "I still speak to John Kingston every so often and he has told me that he wished he had done things differently, in terms of how it was handled," said Yarde. "A lot of the stuff that was said back then. Of course I was disappointed about it. I'd given my all for Harlequins over those years, so would you expect your teammates to express an opinion to the public in that fashion? No, you wouldn't. With Chris Robshaw, I'd got on with him for the entire time I was at Quins. In his testimonial year, I'd gone to numerous dinners and gone to central London on my days off to do Q&As for him, so it caught me by surprise. He was a guy who I'd got on well with, so it was pretty disappointing. I got on with a lot of the guys at Harlequins and I still have friends there. Kyle Sinclair is someone I've played with since I was 16 or 17. He's one of my best friends. I still speak to him and I still speak to a lot of the guys, so it's not a widespread falling out with everyone. I had some of the best years of my life there, but that is an old chapter. My focus now is on what matters here at Sale." In career terms, his new chapter suffered a false start, after Yarde's try-scoring debut for the Sharks. An injury which was initially considered short-term dragged on for 3 months, but now Yarde is flying again, in Sale's predatory back three. He and fellow England wing Denny Solomon have been carving up defences in recent games, and earning a test recall is high on his to-do list. "I've managed to score quite a few tries in the last few weeks and if I can string together some good performances then I can put myself in a good position for the tour," he said. "Hopefully I can do enough to get myself in that England squad for South Africa." "I've been in contact with Eddie Jones a few times. I speak to him every few weeks. If he is speaking to you, you must be on his radar, but Eddie is not a guy who is going to just throw candy at you. He is very honest and upfront with what he says. Before a game, he will give me 3 things to think about and focus on, then he'll tell me exactly what he thought. It's not very often he tells you you've done well." Jones is one for dishing out nicknames and the Australian soon anointed Yarde as his gangster. But the tag has changed since. "When I first started playing for England, he would always speak about my hair and that, gangster, was something he brought up as a bit of a joke," said Yarde. "He's moved on to calling me Fox now. We were training one day, a fox came onto the field and it was lurking around me, so that name has stuck. Whenever Eddie messages me, he'll put a little fox emoji at the end. He has names for everyone and there are far worse than being called a fox. Yarde was no doubt being called far worse names at Harlequins before his swift exit late last year. But he has admitted his mistakes, said sorry and in many cases he has also cleared the air. The rebuilding of his career and reputation can now continue apace, in a vibrant sailback line, starting against Worcester and Salford on Saturday. And whatever Jones wants to call him, Yarde won't mind too much, as long as he also recalls him for national service.